Well, this inlay project was supposed to be a really cool birthday present for my wife, but it turned into one of my biggest failures. So today we're going to figure out where I messed up, how to fix it, and we're going to make a really awesome inlay cutting board. So with that, let's jump in. The plug's gone to waste, but at least I can resurface the cutting board itself and reuse it. It's just going to be 1/4 of an inch thinner than it was to begin with. So make sure you stick around to the end, because after I'm done showing you how to create an inlay cutting board, I'm going to show you all of the different ways that I messed up in this particular project, and there were plenty of different places. But before that, let's actually build this thing, and let me show you how you're going to set up your files in VCarve Pro. Now, I already have my paths created, but I'll go in and I'll show you how to create it. So you're going to select the VCarve tool right here. And now that I've already got it done, I'm going to edit it. Now you'll notice that I have a flat depth of 0.25 inches. Now, depending on the project that you do, you may need to change that. Also, for this particular project, I am using a 30-degree bit, and I'm going to use a clearance tool. Now, the clearance tool that I'm going to use for this particular project is a 3/16 end mill. Now, what's going to happen with that clearance tool is it's going to go in and it's going to get all of the bigger, thicker areas and save you a lot of time. If you did the entire inlay with only a V-bit, it would take you forever because that point's going to have to hit everywhere. So it's a good idea to have a clearance tool. And on the female side of our inlay, that's really all there is to it. So let's go in and preview what's going to happen here. All right, turn that speed down a little bit, and I'll start by previewing the clearance path. Now, again, that's just going to get rid of the thicker stuff. Then I'm going to preview the actual V-bit, and that's going to create the rest of it. Speed that up a little bit. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like. Now, once we have that finished, we need to create the male side. Now, the male side is a mirror image. So you're going to need to come over here to your mirror selected objects and flip it over, because when we cut out that male side, that's going to press down into our female side. Also, we want to put a shape around it so that it will cut it out properly. If you don't put a shape around it, then it's going to try to do the female side again, and that's not what we want. So we're going to put this shape around it, and then once it's done, we're actually going to cut that out, which you'll see here in just a couple of minutes. So for this one, we are also going to have a clear and a V-carve. So let me come into that V-carve right here. Now you'll notice that I'm going to have the start depth start at 0.23 inches, and then it's going to have a flat depth of 0.1. Now this is going to cut this male end 0.23 inches deep, which is slightly less deep than the 1/4 inch on our female side. That's going to leave 0.02 inches for that glue and for any little fuzzies that we might not be able to get out of there. And we're also going to set this to 0.1 inches so that it will sit proud of the cutting board of the female side, which is going to make it easier for us to cut it off. Also, I'm still using that 3/16 end mill as a clearance tool. Let me close that, and now let's preview how we're going to do this. All right, so let's go into our preview here. First one, I'm going to preview the clearance. You notice we got all that out of the way. And again, this is why you want to use a 3/16 or 1/4 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch if it's a more intricate design, to get rid of as much of the material as you can. Then you go in with your V-carve and it will finish the job, and it will give you those sharper angles. Now, once we're done, we're going to cut this piece out and press it and glue it into the female side. So with that done, let's jump to our CNC and start cutting. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you when you're setting up your stock. Go ahead and screw down a piece of wood on the left-hand side and on the bottom. And then when you're creating your project in VCarve Pro, make sure to set the orientation to the bottom left-hand corner. That way, every time you put a piece of stock in there or you change your bits, you don't have to probe the X and Y every single time. You just have to probe the Z. That'll save you a little bit of time when you're doing this. Okay, so I have made some adjustments. I've gone back and I've checked on some things and I think I know where I messed up. So I'm going to try it again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on this smaller cutting board, which is actually going to be a gift this Christmas season. And the design that I'm going to use is going to be a little bit simpler just to make sure that I can get it working correctly. This particular design I found on free SVG, and I'll put a link down in the description. It's a public domain website where you can download all kinds of graphics. So it's really cool. So I'd encourage you to check that out. All right, now we're going to be using 2 bits to complete this. The first one for our V-carve is going to be this simple 30-degree V-bit. And then the second one that we're going to use for clearance is this 3/16 upcut bit. Now you can use an 1/8 inch, you can use a 1/4 inch. It really just depends on what type of things you're going to be clearing out. If it's something that has really small, intricate pieces to clear out, you might want to use an 1/8 of an inch bit. But if it's something that actually has a lot of clearance, you may want to use a 1/4 of an inch. For this particular one, 3/16, I think will do the job really well. So I'm going to load up the clearance bit first, and I'm going to take care of that one. Then I'll do the actual V-carve. Now, as I said before, notice how I've already got a piece of wood down there at the bottom and over on the left-hand side. This way, once I probe my X and Y axis, I don't have to do that again when I swap out the cutting board for the plug. All I have to do is probe the Z whenever I'm changing out my bits or swapping out material, and it'll go a lot quicker. All right, you can see that we've got some little fuzzies in here. We want to get rid of those because we want it to be as smooth and clear as possible so that our plug fits right down inside of there very deep. So we're going to take a wire brush. We're going to try to clean out those fuzzies real quick. Okay, so now we're ready for our male side or our plug. This is about 0.6 inches thick. It's also end grain, and it came with the same kit from Cutting It Close. Okay, so now that we've got everything cut out, we are ready for assembly. Now, you might notice there are still a few little fuzzies here. That shouldn't be a problem because these edges are going to be pressed into the female portion of the cutting board. Also, these edges are so narrow that I don't want to take a chance on breaking them off and ruining the project. All right, so now let's get our glue in there. Now, one mistake that I'm afraid that I made on my first attempt was I didn't get enough glue into the pocket. A mistake that I will not make again. So I'm going to make sure that there is plenty of glue so that my entire inlay is secured when I surface everything off a little later. All right, now that we have all that glue in there, we're going to press in our male side. Now, you're actually going to see me make one kind of a mistake right here. All that I do is press it in and then cover it and put a weight on there. I really should have used a mallet to tap it in because when everything is finished, you'll notice that the right side sticks up just a little bit and it will cause a problem. So now it's time to cut off our plug. Now, if you have a large bandsaw, you can cut it off that way. You can use a Japanese pole saw if you want to, although that seems like it would be torture. But I'm just going to use my CNC and surface it off. Now, you notice I'm not going all the way down because I wanted to make sure that everything turned out good. I'll make another pass and surface it down another 32nd of an inch just so I get a good finished result. I don't want to try to sand off all of that glue and all that excess. It's also at this point that I realize that I've got a little bit of a gap on the top right-hand corner where the knife is. It's very small, and it's because I didn't press the plug all the way in. So I'm just going to take a little bit of walnut sawdust and mix up some glue, and I'm going to fill that in, and you'll never be able to tell. I apologize for not giving you a good close-up where you can see the mistake, but trust me, it's there. And once we've given everything a chance to dry, let's sand it off. Use our palm router to give a nice little round over to cut that edge. Since this is so small, I'm not putting a juice groove in it. This is really going to be more for decoration than anything else. And I'm just going to use some mineral oil to finish it up and make that walnut really pop out of that maple. Oh, and I do want to send a big shout out to Ryan at Cutting It Close. He sent me these cutting board blanks to give them a try, so I will put a link to them down in the description below. The kits are great. They do come with a cutting board, a couple of different sizes, 12 by 18 or 9 by 12. They are all in grain, so that's really nice for a cutting board. And they do come with both the cutting board as well as the plug in a nice handy kit. You can also get those wire brushes and some cutting board oil to go along with it. So I'll leave that link down in the description. All right, so now we have a successful cutting board. So how did I mess up with this original one? Well, number one, I think I chose too elaborate of a design for one of my first ever real inlays. I've done a little inlay work before, but not enough to really tackle something that aggressive as one of my first projects. I should have tested it out on some scrap wood to see how it would work. Number two, when I cut and assembled my plug and pressed the plug down into the cutting board itself, I did it as one large piece. And that's not a good idea for a cutting board as ornate as that one, because some of the pockets were very deep, some of them were a little bit more shallow, and there were a couple of fuzzies left here or there. And in order for an inlay to work properly and look good, every single piece has to go as far down into that pocket as you can get it. Now, because I had several different sized pockets, the least little bit of inconsistency kept some of those pockets from being pressed in all the way. If I would have cut that plug into smaller pieces and then glued them in individually, that would have prevented a few of those plug pieces from not being seated all the way in. So if you're ever going to do anything that elaborate, make sure that you cut your plugs into smaller pieces and then glue them in individually. Number three, in my first attempt, I didn't get glue everywhere. I missed a couple of pockets, especially inside the letter P. And that piece was just straight up missing. And then finally, when I surfaced my finished cutting board, I surfaced it a little bit too deep. So instead of surfacing it just to the surface and flattening it, or maybe keeping it a little bit proud and then sanding it off, I actually went a little bit too deep, which actually cut into the pockets and revealed some holes that wouldn't have been there had I not gone about a 32nd of an inch deeper than I really should have. So did I learn a lot and have fun with this project? Hell yes, I'm going to be making inlays all the time from now on. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything, and since you're still here, make sure to check out this CNC video with some of my favorite projects of all time. Until next time.